Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle. If you're new here, I have a 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And today I want to share some of my favorite early readers and just some general tips dealing with early readers. Like I said, I have an 8-year-old, taught her how to read. 4-year-old, I'm in the process of teaching how to read, so I thought it'd be a good time to get out all these books. So for general tips, let's start with that. I think cultivating a reading environment is very important. We have books all around our house. We always have. Reading at them from babies or from infant on. We do current read alouds right now for the entire family. Even my 1-year-old, he'll play in the room while we do it. So he's obviously not actively listening, but he's being exposed to the language and all that, which I think is really helpful. So, for example, some of the read alouds, and how we do read alouds is like this. I get to choose a read aloud, then my 8-year-old gets to choose a book for read aloud, and then my 4-year-old will choose a book for read aloud. So often they'll choose theirs from the library. So to give you an example, this is what my 4-year-old chose. It's actually a really good series. We've been enjoying it a lot. And it took us probably 2 weeks to get through. We only did 2 chapters a day. But especially with the young readers, you don't want to just give them picture books they can be exposed to, especially read alouds above their level, and I think it teaches a lot. They don't have to sit there and listen to you. They can play, they can draw a picture. They're listening sometimes even though it doesn't look like they're listening. But I think it's good to be introduced to higher level books as well that of course are age appropriate. But there are words in here that I had to sound out because I didn't even know. And I think that's a good point. I think showing your kids that struggle sometimes even as an adult, how we still don't know every single word there is out there. Sometimes we still have to sound out what that word means, where we make a mistake and have to correct ourselves. I think that really helps the confidence of a new reader, knowing that sometimes even adults have trouble. So this is what my 4-year-old chose, and this is what my 8-year-old, this is the second book of it, shows. So again, it's allowing them something they're interested in. Obviously, I choose, when it's my turn, more classic books and things like that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with just reading things that interest them as well. So I think that helps when, give the feeling that reading can be fun. And to that, the library is a wonderful resource. We go often, they pick what they want. Most of the time, they pick what they want. My 4-year-old usually has free reign, but my 8-year-old, now that she's definitely reading far above her reading level, I do have to be careful with some of the books she picks up just because she's emotionally not ready for some of the plot lines and stories that go in with teenager books. So I do watch that a little bit, but I think that's a wonderful, have books around, read them often. It seems obvious, but it really does help. Also, we do poetry tea time, and we try to do it like once a month, but it's definitely not the biggest priority in our house, especially if we're busy, but we don't make a big thing of it. I don't get fancy cups, I don't get a theme, we don't do, especially since we are a gluten-free family, having a fresh bakery cooked item every week wouldn't be possible. It's just a lot of prep work. So most of the time, it can just be fruit and raw veggies, and some cookies, something simple, but just reading, being exposed to poetry is a wonderful thing, especially for those early readers, getting the rhyme and everything down. So we do have, classic poetry books that we own. But I think it's also important to be exposed to just funny, good stuff too. This is an awesome book. And just, comics, funny comics, things like that. So not always pressing that it has to be great literature, that sometimes it's just fun to read. And those are my general tips. Now, for early readers, I struggled with this with my 8-year-old, finding good early readers. We tried things like Bob Books, and she didn't like them because she prefers something that has a story, beginning, middle, and end, so she can follow along, not just random words on a page. And a lot of early readers are especially that, because they're trying to get certain words on a page. It's sometimes difficult to make a story, which I totally get. So obviously we use All About Reading to teach reading in our house. So I'm a big fan of the readers. I think they're wonderfully put together. My 8-year-old still picks these up. She still has her favorites that she'll read to her 4-year-old sister. And I have the black and white version. I do not have the color version. But again, the graphics are great in these. really good confidence booster. They're not complicated. They obviously progress and get harder as your child learns more. But we just did this one last week. Look how cute that pig is. So it's fun, and they really enjoy it. Both my girls have really enjoyed these books. So we really like those for early readers, and you read those with the program as well. So after that, we have a combination of different things I use. I picked this set up at, I believe, Costco, it's probably 4 years ago. But it's just the Animal Antics and Big Fun. It comes with a parent guide, and then this big set of readers here. And I really like the parent guide because it tells you what it is. So it tells you they're doing a phonics approach to reading, which I think is really important. They also do a literature base. So it's stories that have a beginning, middle, and end, which again, both my children crave, and it helps with reading comprehension. And it talks about repetitive text. So it'll start with one word, then it'll add another word to that. So a tan cat, or it'll say cat, and then tan cat, and then it'll be a tan cat. So they're getting that repetitive practice with it, which they really need to get down the reading skills and fluency, I think, and just how to use it. So obviously my kids have played with it. It comes with stickers if you do buy it. So you can put a sticker there's a spot to put a sticker in the beginning of the page when you finish it. But this is an example of the first book. And this is what I was talking about. It starts with just the little, and then it builds upon that. So it really does give them that fluency and confidence to read because they've seen those words before. What I like at the end is there's some reading comprehension questions, and then it tells you what specific skills they're working on in that book. So again, there's a bunch of different ones, and they progress, obviously, as your child, and it's numbered on the bottom so you know. So for example, this is book 10. So it builds on that, and then it comes with the purple set, which again just builds on that, and they all have the same thing. They have the reading comprehension questions in the back, what skills you're working on. So I thought those were wonderful resources, good pictures, good stories. My kids enjoyed them. Gotta say, one of their favorites right now is, or has always been, this is so epic, the Usborne, My First Reading Library. Give you a quick look at that. So this is obviously progresses as well. And I know this is like $70 something, but if you think about how many books you get 50 books in here. So if you price that per book, it's really not that bad. And what I really love about these, so I'll take out the first one. These are wonderful first readers. Why they're so great is there is a part that the parent reads, and then there's a part for the child to read. So it really takes that pressure off them, and it also gives them the confidence that they're reading this book with you. So you say this, and then they say the big bold. My girls both have loved these books. My 8-year-old still picks these books up. These are probably the most read readers in our entire house. So it does get harder as it goes on, but I'll show you. The back has fun little puzzle comprehension things, which again makes it fun. Different puzzles for them to solve. And of course, if you need it, has the answers. What I really like about this set also is it has a QR code on the top where you can scan and you can get more resources. So like different worksheets or fun things to do with each book actually. So I'll show you the first book, and then we'll show you the middle one. And again, really like the stories. Then I'll show you what it looks like at the very end. So that's kind of what they would be reading at the end of it. Really enjoyed the titles, pretty classic books. And again, my girls have both enjoyed that. Once they get through that, and again, it'll take a long time to get through those books. I also picked this up just once they're fluent and have confidence and want something to read, I move to, dropping all of them, my reading library, which is the next step after my first reading library. I'll give you a quick shot. These are a lot of classic tales. So, a lot of fairy tales and things like that, Little Red Riding Hood. So this is kind of the text they'll be reading. And it has different things like Three Little Pigs, The King's Pudding, Little Red Hen, Snow White. But beautiful graphics, really builds upon their reading skills, and it's fun and it's classic stories. So those are probably our most heavily used books, and they are out all the time. Sometimes my 8-year-old will pick them up and read them to my 4-year-old, but she'll still pick these up for fun and read them. They're awesome, they're an investment, but again, you get 50 books for the price of these. And they do have more that come after this. They have, I think, a Shakespeare one and different things like that. So those are our favorite early readers and a couple tips for you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.